Hello Silver Wolves, and welcome back to the channel. Okay, today in the Silver Wolves Skills series, we're going to be talking about a simple skill that has a lot of applications. But first, let me remind you that we're just 60 days out from the Silver Wolves class in North Georgia, and that will be starting the 4th, 5th, and 6th of October, so we're just right at 2 months out. And so there's still like 2 places left, 2 or 3 places left, and then the class is going to be full. So if you're interested in getting in, look down in the description box and I'll have the contact information down there. Okay? Now with that done, let's talk about what we're going to do. A walking stick, we're going to use this short stick for a demonstration. Just imagine it's a long stick. It's easier for me to maneuver right here. You've created your own walking stick. And now you want to increase the hand a little bit, make it a little better on the hand, etc. So we're going to do a wrap up here. Now this same exact technique of wrapping a cord and capturing it in itself without a bunch of knots is a way of wrapping. And you wrap the end of a rope. The rope would unfray if we didn't wrap it. Today with our modern lines, we don't really think about this so much. But in the past, this was a skill most people had to learn because most of the ropes prior to like World War II were natural rope. It was sisal, or it was cotton, or it was hemp, or it was something like that. And if you didn't secure that end either with a big old knot or you whipped it, it was going to unravel. And if it was going to be passing through an eye, like on a ship, that was a standard thing to be able to whip the end to keep that thing from fraying out. Well, if you scale that up, and instead of putting it on the end of a rope, but I put it on the end of a walking stick, I get a hand grip up here. Now, what material do I want to put it on? Well, if I want to make the grip a little bigger, I might use paracord, or even rope, for that matter. It's the same technique either way. If I want something fine and slicker, I may use something like thick jute, or I might even use thin nylon cord or something else, or Bankline. We're going to be using Bankline today to do this. Okay, so what you're going to need is whatever stick you're going to put a handle onto, pair of pliers, a cutting tool of some kind, and whatever cord you're going to be using. Now I'm going to be using number 36 Bankline right here, and I've went ahead and set it up. So what I mean is I've taken a hunk that I would be carrying this in my haversack, right? And I think there's 50 feet or 20 something feet left on this. It started out as a 50-foot hank. And what I've done is I've unspooled it and then I've wrapped it around this way to make a manageable hank for when I'm doing my wraps. I got it easier to hold on to. If I just make it all loose, then I got to pull over and pull it tight and take the whole 50 foot again, and that's very frustrating because it gets all tangled up. Do yourself a favor, just loop back and forth a few times and then start wrapping it around the end like this so it just rolls off of it. And let me unhook it now. We're using the false because we're not using our glasses. Like that. See how it rolls and it comes out? That way I can easily take this and wrap it around, and I can just roll my hand and keep it in one bunch and it doesn't become a big mess. Okay? Now, we're going to cut off the end, so I don't need a knot on it. No. But I don't want it to fray out, so if your end's got a little bit of fray or whatever, go ahead and put a knot in the end of it. Okay? Now, we're going to figure out how long we want to wrap. And I use this, this is a piece of sparkleberry. It's the biggest blueberry bush. It's a division of hawthorn. It grows down here in the south. There's several names for it, but if you look up in the book of trees, sparkleberry, it does call it by that name, and it grows wild in a lot of cow pastures and along the edges. And I call it tool wood because this wood is hard as all get out. And so you cut it green, shape it to what you want, and you let it dry just a day or two, and it's like iron. I use this particular one and have for 15 years or more in casting bullets, where you whack that thin steel plate on the mold to knock it off. And so that's what's made all this jimping on here. So this thing has been pounding onto a steel plate, a thin as a knife blade steel plate for 15 years. I mean a good whack. And it's still holding up. That's why we use tool wood for making wooden tools. And they're everywhere down here in the south. But back to, I'm going to make my wrap from here to here probably about 4 inches. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spool out this. I'm going to give myself a loop. Okay, I'm going to lay that loop up there and make sure that where that loop is going to be, so I'm going to run from right here to right here. Okay, then I've got a little bit of tab sticking out. That's what I'm going to pull it closed when I get done. I'm going to pull the other side down beside it, kind of snug like that. And then I'm going to hold it in place. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pinch it with my thumb, just like that. And now I'm going to take my line, going to twist it into a loop, just like that. And I'm going to put that loop over it. So it's going to come around, and I'm going to put this whole line back through that loop, so it will cinch up. Now I want to put my knot right there underneath that, so it's something I can grab a hold of. Alright, I know it's a little fiddly at the beginning. It's much easier whenever you can lay it down on something. You got to stand in front of a camera. But now I pull that line just a little bit, just like that. Okay, and now I'm going to simply go around tightly up against that line. Now let me get 2 or 3 runs and I'll show you. See, I can pull it tight like that. I got a handle. I can pull it around and then I pull it tight. And I give myself a little bit of slack. I go around and I pull it tight. Now I look around on the back side and make sure everything's staying up tight. Take your thumb down, push it up tight. Now I keep this line coming down straight. Okay? And now I'm just simply going to wrap this around just like this. Each time I pull it tight, and after about 3 wraps, I'm going to look around the back side, take my thumb, push it up over there, and make sure it's tight all the way around. Give it a good pull and keep it pulling tight like that. Scoot it out. I keep pulling tight. This whipping is what's going to bind it up. I just keep rolling it out in my hand and keep rolling it around each time, building up that whipping. Now stop, go around, look at the back side, make sure you didn't cross over. If you did, just unwrap, take your thumb, push up on it, keep it nice and tight, see, all the way. When you get a good run going like this, you can scoot it out, scoot it up, and just kind of do like this. It starts getting faster and faster for you. Keep rolling. Keep pulling it tight. Keep wrapping. Now, see, I let it get spaced out a little bit. Scoot it up. Keep it pulled tight. Now this old silver wools, if this starts to cramp your hand a little bit, you can lay it down a second. You know, don't let it completely unroll, but you can lay it down a second. Okay. Now, making sure that's fully up tight on all the sides, right like that. And we come over just like this. I know. Riveting television, I know. We're almost there. Got about another ½ inch to go. Whenever I get it, I need a break from this hand, just take your finger and pinch it. Let that hand rest. Get your blood back in your hand. I know your hands hurt. My hands hurt. Take the time to do like this, and now push it down. Pull it. If it goes over, just pop it back in. Alright, now, almost done. When I get to the end, Another 2 or 3 loops. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to pull that line good and tight, making sure that line isn't crossed over anything, like right there it was. Say, take my finger and push that one back uphill, just like that. Pull it down. Now, that loop that we left sticking up, see it right there? I'm going to take the other end, I'm going to run it through that loop, just like this. Pull it down tight, just like that, and I'm going to go through a second time up under there. Notice I'm using the foil, so I'm not using my glasses. Alright, now that I've got that, pull it down just a little bit and hold it snug. That little tab we left sticking out on the other end down here, we're going to grab and pull it. And what that's going to do, it's going to pull this loop underneath this wrap and anchor that into the line. So, I'm going to grab a hold of that with a pair of pliers, and I'm going to pull. And this is going to be kind of tough. There. Now see, that's taken that double loop I did and it's pulled it underneath to there. So it's like 5 wraps down. Now that's anchored. Now I just got this end and this end sticking out. Now you take your knife and you come up here. This is the part, show this again before I cut it. Came all the way around to there was the loop right here. I went through the loop twice. Holding everything snug, I pulled, and that pulled that knot down to right there. It's a 1/2 inch down from the top. And right there's the line that I pulled to pull that loop down. Okay? Now I'm going to just cut that off flush, just like that. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to cut this one off flush, just like that. I'll re-hank up that leftover. And now I've got a handle on it, just like that. Now, I twisted it in a given direction, didn't I? If you will twist the wrap in the direction that you were going, it pulls it tighter. But in an emergency case, what if I needed this cordage off of here? How would I get it off of there? Grab a hold of it and bear down hard and start twisting against it, and it will slack up. So it's got the torque of me twisting it, and that'll hold it in place, securely in place. But if I ever did need to get this off of here, all I got to do is go against the grain up here about that 1 inch and bear down hard and turn. It'll unwrap and I can spiral that cord right back off there and have an emergency source of cordage. So, for the top of a walking stick, I can do this and make a quick grab handle that doesn't let my hand slip. Maybe I'm wanting to make it a little thicker than this old wood. Or maybe it's some other device that I'm using as a walking stick. I just don't like the way it feels in my hand. My hand gets sweaty and wants to slide. This Bankline does a good job at keeping it from sliding. And I can grab a hold of it easily. Yeah, it's going to make your hand a little bit dirty for a while. You kind of wear the excess tar off of it. But it will make it a good way to grip a hold of. Now for this now being a whacker, for my reloading set, I've got an even better way to grab it, because I was starting to get a few little splinters in there whenever you whack and get it stuck in your skin, you know. So I wanted to wrap it. So let's review. Why do we do this? We want to put a wrap on here for a better grip, or to increase the diameter, or make it a little softer on the hands. Also, keep our hand from sliding up and down the pole when we have to bear down and put a weight on it. Our hand strength is not that great anymore because we're old silver wolves, and so we want something that gives a little bit of a grip. Okay? All we're going to do is take our length of line, we're going to gather it up, we're going to take our length of line that we figured out is more than sufficient, wrap around the hands a couple of times like that, and then we're going to get to the end, and we're simply going to start wrapping to make up that spool you just saw me use. That way I can roll this out easily in my hand when I'm doing that whipping, and not have to keep doing this with this long line over and over and over again. That's going to tangle up, it's going to frustrate you. But if I'll just roll it up like this, onto that shaft. Now I got something I can lash and just roll it out with my fingers, see, giving me more slack to do another lap. That's the reason I did that ahead of time. So I had more than sufficient line to do it. I need a pair of pliers to grab that tag down there and pull that loop back underneath. So a pair of pliers. So you need your stick, you need the cordage of your choice, you need a pair of pliers, and you're going to need a cutting tool to cut it off and make it look clean. It provides us with a better grip. It provides us with an anti-slip grip. It provides us with an emergency source of cordage should we have to have it and we have nothing else. And it's something we can redo later on. Once that cord wears out for whatever reason, it comes loose because I twisted on it real hard trying to go up a hill and it came loose. If it starts to come loose, all you got to do is twist in the correct direction and re-tighten it up. But if for whatever reason that cord gets burned, cut, whatever, I can simply re-whip it later on. This is the same skill I would use to whip the end of a rope or a natural rope or something to hold it together. I have used this same technique to hold a group of vines together to get it to work as a larger rope. It's a simple trick and it works real well. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. And if you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe down there. I'd really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Silver Wolf class in October. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.